My name is Lyndon, Baptiste. I'm a writer and YouTuber from Trinidad and Tobago. This is part 2 of a conversation that we were having, and we're resuming here, and we want to focus this conversation on the YouTube side of things. Right? You have an Instagram page, but I get the impression that it's there to promote your YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. Out of all the social media platforms we have access to, why did you choose YouTube?
I was inspired to start the YouTube channel to, I guess, satisfy the idea that I'm an artist, and I wanted to kind of use this channel to become an artist. And I saw it as a way to monetize, because I don't know if you can monetize Instagram, but I just saw YouTube as being more of a lasting platform. It seems to be like one of the strongest social media platforms in terms of longevity, and like even the longevity of a video. So I could post a video today and I could expect maybe let's say it gets 100 views within a year, but then 10 years down the road, it might get 1 million views. Instagram, I don't really see having that type of longevity. Like I wonder if Instagram will still even be here in 2 years because of how other platforms like TikTok and stuff have been throwing it off. And even I just see YouTube as one of the strongest platforms in terms of short form content, but now with the reels or shorts, I can't really call it shorts, yeah. And as well as long content. But my knowledge of YouTube is that could be monetized a little bit more easily than, I guess, Instagram and TikTok. So in terms of the business side of things, that's why I would have drifted more to YouTube. Instagram, I kind of have this funny relationship with Instagram, even from my personal Instagram. Going back to giving my life to Christ, I just kind of cleared my old Instagram, my old personal Instagram.
How else you marketing your channel other than Instagram? Where you sharing links? How you getting the word out to people?
I have a Facebook account with like a few friends, but I've joined many arts groups because my channel focuses on Caribbean arts, Caribbean visual arts more specifically. So I've joined many visual arts, Caribbean groups, Trinidadian groups, even some photography groups as well. So I would often share my videos in there. I also have a LinkedIn account that I would share my videos on. I've joined a few, same groups, same art groups on LinkedIn, and I would share content in there. I've used MailChimp to also email my videos out to secondary schools. That has not been so successful because MailChimp shows you who opens the mail, and that hasn't been so successful. So my next plan with that, because I really want to share this content with secondary school students. One of the first ideas for the channel was to give secondary school, even primary school and university school students kind of like a hub for all the art information that we could find in the Caribbean. So my next step, instead of the emails, would probably be calling the schools to talk to them directly, or even just going into schools, people that I have relationships with, teachers that I have relationships with, going into them and just presenting the channel to them and seeing if they could share it with their students. So that's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. WhatsApp, I also just send to my family and friends.
So part of your strategy is to see if you could connect with schools and reach out to them, whether it's through personal visits or whatever, and expose your content. You mind me like sharing my ideas as I go along in terms of being on YouTube or whatever. You have the joy and the privilege and the experience of being a teacher at the primary and the secondary school level. So you're right. It's good to visit, maybe send the signals out there and whatnot. I have found when I'm creating videos, there's a certain journey that you will take, or a path that you will take, where you say, hey, I'm kind of making videos for myself. Like maybe like the self-indulgent artist, as you call them, right? And then the success of it kind of comes around when you realize that, let me think more about my audience and who they are. So you see that in terms of the current number of subscribers, because you are on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. So I have, there's 130 subscribers right now. And I'm thinking about what is the content that they want to see. They are people they are the artist. They're probably just interested in the community. Maybe they are mothers and fathers, like you could relate to your mom and how she encouraged you. So what do you as the content creator, you have to constantly be thinking about, and you're already doing it through visiting art galleries, interviews with artists and whatnot. You have to be thinking about, how do I get now into the inroads of what is the primary school child doing? What are they studying? Because you have a sense of what these subjects are. Whether it's from visual arts, from Form 1 to Form 5, what it looks like. Can I start it now, churn out a short that maybe tell somebody one of the hardest questions in your art exam is X, Y, Z. These are the things that you should know.
Okay.
So you will now be creating content of, using the term value, you're creating value for a particular user. And I have a habit, and it's something that I'm quickly trying to shed myself of in terms of, what's my next target, boy? I want to hit 10,000 subscribers. I want to hit 100,000 subscribers. I have shifted that mindset. And I am now thinking about what content do I want to make for the 9 or 10,000 people that are currently committed to me. Yes, I just have the odd curveball inside and I say, this really don't look like it belongs on this channel. What are you doing here? And maybe that is me indulging myself. But the more you find, the more you think about who your viewers are, the better it's going to be. People are going to start to find you. Because say, for example, you put out a video, the top 10 or the 5 hardest questions in art exam for CXC students. So it is a kind of like balancing your ambition that you have to say, I want to visit art galleries. I want to speak to them. I want to speak to the artists. I want to speak to the gallery owners. But you have a wider base. You're targeting a wider base if you're thinking about perhaps the secondary school students and what they need. And you have the advantage of having worked in that environment and maybe having access to past papers or whatnot. The more you give that type of value, the better for you.
That is something I think about even starting the YouTube channel. I found this artist on YouTube who sold this kind of workbook, a guide basically kind of helping you work through your niche, working through your target audience, working through your goals, working through videos, equipment and stuff like that. So that's something I thought about pretty early on. Even before I started the YouTube channel, I identified, I think, 4 target audience people. Like I had to give these people a name and give these people a job and a description. So I might have identified a 9-year-old boy who's in primary school, who has this interest in drawing, and kind of give him a life. Like I actually wrote out a life for him and the things that he might do on a daily basis, go on YouTube to look at. And so I have those records. Sometimes I guess it's always to review them and go back to them. So every quarter I actually go over this. Every 3 months I go over it to kind of see if I could update it or if I've been meeting those targets. I do kind of have those people in mind. But I like your idea of like even thinking about exams and stuff like that too. So that's something I could definitely add. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
one.
and you from your video that way you went up into Cora and you're doing the garden. Maybe there's the intersection there that you're thinking about. That the person, this is maybe a mature female. They enjoy gardening and that becomes part of the space that you operate in. And you're fortunate you're from an area that you could easily kind of just keep revisiting nature and whatnot. So tell us what you're filming on, your tools that you have, and what you hope your upgrade part will be.
I use an iPhone 11.
All right. Yeah, I used that for a good while and now looking good.
I was actually thinking about just investing into a camera. I think it's a Nikon N50 or something. Like even before I started the videos. And I spoke to a guy who understands cameras a lot better than I. And he was like, make 20 videos. Or he gave me like a random number, like make 20 videos with your iPhone and then come back and talk to me before you invest in a proper camera and see if you like making the videos, see the quality of the camera, see how you can use it, like manipulate that first before you invest into a camera. And that was some good advice. To me, that was one of the best pieces of advice I got starting this channel, because people even come up to me now and ask me, so what camera are you using? I'm like, it's an iPhone. It's a phone. So people don't see the difference in quality. Like there's no difference in quality there. In terms of mics, I have a wired lavalier mic. It's not the best, but you
always had this mic, or you bought this particularly for YouTube?
I bought it for YouTube. I got it on Amazon. It was probably like maybe $200 or something. And I got a tripod as well, specifically for the phone. And that was probably like $200-$300 to bring down as well. And that tripod is actually, it could hold the phone vertical, it could hold it horizontal. So there's a video where I shoot on top of a desk looking at the first video I did where I shoot looking at the books, and that tripod helps a lot in just being able to face it down, but also having it up. So that as well was a good was a good buy, and that's pretty much it.
The fork that holding up the microphone, you buy that on Amazon too?
The fork I just got, I got at the gallery, because there's something to hold the mic.
Yeah, so to explain one of the YouTube videos, you're interviewing someone and you have the lovely mic on a fork. I saw that as like genius. Please don't ever let us leave the channel. This is...
definitely bringing that one back in the future videos.
After this question, remind me to tell you something about cameras, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have the phone, you have the lovely microphone. What are some of the things that you hope to, as you generate revenue or take from your own personal finances, that you would like to invest in next?
Well, definitely a new camera, because my phone battery doesn't like all this recording.
Right.
I think I have about 19 videos right now, and I eventually want to get a better quality mic. So I bought a wireless lavalier mic. I haven't tried it out as yet, but I know I want to just invest, because I realized quickly that more than anything, audio is very important in these videos. So you have to be able to hear the person quite well. So camera, mic, and a stand. I use Premiere Pro right now to edit videos on the computer. I have a MSI laptop that's about 4 or 5 years old, and it's on its last leg. So I'm going to eventually need to get a new one, and I'm hoping to get a desktop this time, because I don't think I'll be moving around too much with it. And I also have I think it's a 24-inch screen that I hook up to the laptop to edit on. So that's nice and big, so I can see everything.
Also, you have your
properly.
timeline one place and your source monitor somewhere else.
Yeah,
okay.
So that works out well. This is not a sponsor ad, but I use an app called Notion. So it's basically like a online notebook, and that helps a lot in terms of being able to store everything. But for me, at least, because I could imagine like having a notepad or something to write down all these things. But so all the equipment I bought, I have it stored on Notion in maybe just a page called equipment. So I have the price, I have when I bought it, I have future equipment I want to buy, so I have a tag on it. Okay, so this is important, or this one I could wait a while. I have the price that I found it at. I have all my videos stored on that as well. In terms of if I have to write a script for a video, I write the script there. I have a little space for when I want to let this video be published.
And preparing for this interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your videos. I'm listening to you speak now, and I was like, all right, this fella is our planner, boy.
Yeah.
What's your creative process like in terms of planning?
In terms of those videos, and I actually want to do one tomorrow where I go up Cora again and do another one of those videos. Those videos are scripted. I can't remember if I wrote the script for it before or after. I assume I wrote it before. But even before getting to that video, I spent a month just looking at YouTube content that I was interested in, content that I wanted to mirror my channel from. And in that same Notion book, I would have been writing down transitions. I'd have been writing down shots. Okay, if this person did a video similar to what I want to create, what was their first shot? What was their second shot? How they got their shot? How they got shot 1 to shot 2? How did they transition between those shots? What did they do? So after looking at a month's worth of that and literally writing down a lot of it. So I remember I looked at this guy called Nathan Z. I looked at another guy who builds fish tanks, aquarium scapes and stuff like that for just a month, just to understand what shots look like and how you actually tell a story through video before I even got to making that video. So there's a month of consuming content, writing down the content that I liked before I got to that video. So at that point, it was like, I think I probably wrote the script first and I had general key points. But even that act of collecting the rocks and going and swimming and coming back and building that barrel, I've done that many times before, and I realized that it was just something that was very easy to record. So I didn't need to plan that side of it too much, except just understand the shots I wanted to take. So if I can remember correctly, it's like, I know I had to take a shot of me collecting the rocks. I know I had to take a shot of me in the river because I knew I was talking about something that I didn't have an action for. So I knew I wanted to do some swimming and stuff like that. I knew I had to take a shot of me preparing the barrel, drilling the holes, then putting it back in place. I knew I had to take a shot of filling it with the rock. So from doing that, I probably have like maybe 4 or 5 of those barrels done at this point. So at that point, it was kind of second nature for the barrel. So it was just to understand from consuming all that content before, just the simple shots that would be required. So those videos with voiceovers typically have a script. The interviews, I would do a little more on the spot. I would plan for it before in terms of like what you've done. know the type of questions you want to ask the person, but I wouldn't necessarily share with them before that. I prefer that they kind of on the spot kind of have to think it out.
But how is all this planning affecting your creative process in terms of output, not the creative process, sorry. You're doing all this planning. Now, it does get easy as you go along, right? Because you're getting a sense of, well, hey, I know this now, I don't need to plan for it the next time around. But in the early stages, where part of the gospel you might be hearing on YouTube is that, you want to be putting out videos, you want to be creating, whether it's twice or 3 times a week. How does that planning bog you down along with the editing process that you have, learning the new tools?
Well, I would say, because even before I made or even attempted to make the first video, a month before that was planning how I'm going to make videos, how I even need to get to the point of making the first video. So the first month I spent going through that workbook that girl gave me and it goes really in depth. I could probably link it to you if you'd like to share it with the audience. I say that was one of the key moments of this channel. Like, if you're starting a YouTube channel and you're an artist, buy that workbook. It's like 300 or 350 TT. I don't even think it's so expensive. I think I bought a bundle with a lot of things, but the workbook is cheaper. Buy that workbook. If I didn't buy that workbook, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been, I don't think I would have been at how many of us subscribers.
What is the name of the workbook again?
Can't remember.
You remember? Okay, so what we do is let's add it to the show notes down in the audio video description.
It's like an artist YouTube workbook where she helps you just navigate all those early ideas, and she forces you to picture that 9-year-old person that you're making content for and just make up stories for them and stuff like that. So that was early on, and that helped in terms of planning. So once I was able to kind of go through that workbook in a month, then I watched a lot of content and I, again, just wrote down the steps. And in terms of the planning, I guess I've just been a very organized person. Even in my university days, I have, and I still have it now, I have a folder for my university. I have a folder for each year of university. In that folder, I have a folder for each semester. And in that folder, I have a folder for each subject. I want to come back a bit even, still preparing. Before I even made my first video, I did 2 Skillshare courses on Premiere Pro.
Right.
I have no editing skill, no editing anything before that. So people watch my videos and they're like, wow, your transitions. A month of looking at videos and then 2 Skillshare courses, and they give you like a month free just to sign up, and I actually got an extra month. Yeah, so I just did those 2 Skillshare courses and I've just been practicing and constantly looking at other people's videos, people that inspire me to see, again, how their transitions work and how do they take it. Because I know that I'm kind of in this box of editing. Like, I spoke about it before in part 1 where I was trying to get out of that box to a place I knew I could take the video, but I didn't know how to. And then a friend called me and helped me get out of it. So I know I have a kind of editing style that I may be a bit boxed in with. So now I'm looking at other people's videos who might be doing a bit more explosive work. Even, it doesn't have to be even in the realm of like they're artists or anything, but they're just making some crazy videos. And I'm like, right, again, just starting from scratch, almost like writing down transitions to try to see if I can make a video like that a month just to expand my catalog of the types of editing I could make. That is where I want to push it.
And who's some of the YouTubers you're looking at for inspiration?
I think his name is Zed Nathan, one of my favorites in terms of like just how nonsensical but sensical his content is. So he'll have like random explosions, he'll have the camera tilted, and I in my head can't do that comfortably as yet. But he's just like this guy who sits on in front of a bookcase and talks about music or film or stuff like that. And something about his editing is like, I want to get to that level and I'm going to get to that level. I don't know if it's maybe because of the types of videos I'm making that I wouldn't say it doesn't allow to it, but I know that there has to be some videos I could make that could expand to that. Like, again, he would just have like random explosions. He would throw in random clips or like random videos or like some nostalgic random videos into it. I know in my heart I'm not that comfortable yet to try that. The video I want to make tomorrow, I want to try that a little bit. It's just a constant cycle of learning and accepting that, okay, I've gotten this far. How did I get this far? By writing down those transitions. So if I wrote down those transitions and I now comfortably make those types of videos, I have that locked. Okay, done with that. Look at different videos that I want to make and just start the process all over again.
Okay, and from an editing, Premiere Pro, those kind of filming tips or whatever, are there any particular channels that you're looking for that type of content?
I look at like Think Media. I should probably have checked these names before. I think
no,
it's Think
that's
Media.
absolutely fine. If you don't remember them, but I could think like in the early days when I started Premiere Pro, I remember coming across tutorials by Peter McKinnon and some other fellas in that area that they're vloggers, but they were also doing that type of content. I guess maybe that's where they started in terms of tutorials. And that's the interesting thing about having a YouTube channel. Because I was curious skimming through your channel and looking at the different videos that your content, it didn't really fit your work. And we talked about that in the earlier conversation in terms of giving people the value maybe around different artists and whatnot. And then maybe you turn your attention to what you do, because by then people they've significantly invested in you. And they say, well, hey, let me see what you up to now, you know? Mm-hmm. As an artist, teacher, do you have any particular products in mind for your YouTube channel? Because I always think about YouTube with the different phases. You start doing something for fun, you spend a lot of time planning, and then you reach this stage where, hey, you know, I could probably make money visiting art galleries and talking to people and getting sponsorship from them. Where are you in that journey? Have you seen the potential in terms of generating income as yet?
Now, kind of in the process of maybe trying to understand how I could get sponsorships. Even though I don't have 1 million subscribers, it's kind of thinking about, okay, what maybe small stores I could go to that are in the realm of art, or maybe even outside of it, that I think would be willing to maybe just invest some time or some finances into the channel, maybe do some sort of sponsorship with them, whether it's just like this video sponsored by X, Y, and Z, or I go to maybe their store and feature them or something like that. I've thought about even selling or eventually selling like merchandise. I don't know if I'll share this one yet, but different accessories and stuff like that.
You also have opportunity because you're doing things like reviewing Caribbean books.
Right. So,
and when you think about things like Amazon Associates, when you sign up for affiliate programs like that, you have the opportunity that you could create, specific links, share it with your audience that if you're interested in these art books. So there's other ways that you could.
Yeah. So I've looked into like affiliate links and stuff like that. I'm interested in maybe even doing more paid interviews and stuff like that. So kind of now a bit more focusing on those interviews as well to kind of up my skills there. Or even in the future, maybe editing videos for other YouTubers.
When you say paid interviews, that somebody will pay you to interview them or for you to appear like on our podcast, or what was your idea in terms of paid interviews?
I was thinking of someone paying me to come and interview them and maybe post it on the channel, but also maybe someone paying me to be interviewed as well to get the information that I have. I'm more thought along the lines of like maybe an artist doing an artist talk and now wants me to come and film it. I guess maybe to kind of document it and also best for the publicity so that there could be some sort of financial exchange there.
Yeah, because you have a camera that you want to buy. And getting back to that point on the camera, and we have to be so careful in terms of investments because we working with limited resources. I have in my YouTube journey, I have purchased a number like different pieces of equipment that I use some of them today. And it's always kind of about, you have this juggling act because you're thinking about, should I invest in lighting? Maybe not necessarily because I do a lot of work outdoors. Some years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I invested in a camera. That camera, that's the big camera pointed at you right now. It's a Canon M50. Very good camera. But they reached a point for me where I started to get a little bit tired of the process of, one, taking it around. As simple as it sounds, reaching home, copying the files to the hard drive, putting them into folders. And I have since kind of moved away from using this. It serves me well. I love it. It's working right now. Mm-hmm. You talk about using an iPhone 11. That's the same type of phone that you're using there. So it has, you could have a certain, long story short, just really thinking investments through before you make them, because you might buy something and then you realize, hey, I should have spent that 80 or 100 US maybe getting a recorder because I'm more into interviews. Mm-hmm. So you really have to consider, what's the direction that you hope to take things in the next 3 to 6 months or a year, and then choose your path. And something that I realized recently is you should be generating revenue beyond your YouTube monetization. You need to don't bog yourself down in terms of thinking, hey, I only have 100 subscribers. Hey, I only have 200. Oh, I want to start this when I reach 1,000 subscribers. It take me years to reach there. where you have to see, we were talking about this earlier, you have to see the value of each one of those subscribers, because you, more than me perhaps on my channel, you're guaranteed that the person who subscribes there, if they're not your friends or family, is somebody who has a deep interest in what you're doing. You've made a commitment to a certain niche here. I'm doing the art scene in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. How does that affect your ability to experiment? Say, for example, you're probably children at home. I'm just using this as an example, right? Your children at home and your mother making what look like a wicked pillow boy. How do you fight? How do you address that urge to create, but it doesn't fit in terms of what I'm doing?
I guess that was something I maybe thought of really early on. So even that trip to the river, it was something that, again, it was a process that I was doing a lot. Like every once in a while, I would just go collect the rocks, take a swim, come back, and basically do that whole process. And I was like, this is something I could film. It's not as far-fetched as like a pilau is to, I guess, my channel, but it was something, I guess the pilau was still a creative output, so maybe it's still something I could actually use. Then think about that. Yeah,
because a cinematic aspect of it, right? You could say, well, I am doing cinematic vlogs. It may not be the typical, hey, look up, I'm making a pilau here.
Yeah, it was still a part of my creative process. So it was still something that I was doing as a part of being an artist. So I would spend a lot of time in the garden. When I came back from architecture school, I didn't have a job as yet, and I just started gardening for the fun of it, and I really fell in love with it. And I wish I started recording those things a lot earlier. Like those things have impacted my practice and has impacted me a lot. So I see it as just a part of my practice. So it was easy for me to record that process and to talk about how it inspires me to create work. And it was easy to record the other stuff I did for the Fine and Peace video and talk about the gospel in terms of how that has helped me in terms of being an artist. So for me, I early on tried to push the boundary. Like it just doesn't have to be painting or drawing or art books, but how do these other things kind of affect my practice and how do I get it into the channel? Script writing takes some time. It takes some work, and then even to do the voiceovers and everything, those videos take a lot more out of me than it would to just go to a gallery, hold my phone, and just put together a 6 minutes clip. Like, have you seen Reborn video where I go through the gallery? That 6 minute video probably took like 6 hours to edit. So let's say like 7 hours. So probably took me half an hour to just film it, and let's say 7 hours, right? For the whole thing. That Fine and Peace video or that inspiration video could have taken at least 14 hours from start to finish in terms of planning it, writing down the script, going. Like it took me so long just to go up to Quora, come down. It took me a full day just to film that. After I did that, I was done for the day. I remember looking at the time and I'm like, I'm done. There's nothing else I can do today.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the challenges when you approaching videos as a work of art, that it has to hit some, hey, have I captured these elements this particular way? Because it makes your life so much more challenging that, hey, let me just speed through, let me just capture, record, and then, slap everything on the timeline, maybe some B-roll inside it to pretty it up. So it is challenging. And as the good news is that you get a rhythm. The bad news is that a couple months or years down the road, you realize that how long can I sustain this for? Yeah. Your life is getting a little bit busier. And I think there's I don't know if I could, is it fair or safe to say predicting this? But my bet is that you will have, if it hasn't already started happening, that in late 2022 here or 2023, you're going to see a lot of YouTubers in Trinidad and Tobago hitting a brick wall and wondering, why am I not growing? Why is it hard? Why am I frustrated? What they tend to call things like burnout. I think you're going to see a lot of that and a lot of frustration, because at the end of it, you're a one-man show. And the same way you talk about bringing the art community together for, criticism, feedback that could improve our work or your next piece. There's a desperate need for things like that. And, it's where people like you and me connect, and then there's a bigger circle is the thing that will help it thrive. And then imagine a space where not just artists in the form of photographers and the traditional painter or the contemporary painter could gather, but maybe YouTubers gathering in that space as well. Hey, look, you may turn your attention and say, well, hey, I reached this stage where I could go out and get these things done, but how affordable is it for me to have an editor to work with, you know, and then being able to kind of let go that part of the process and say, I'm working with the secondary school to do a series with them. I need somebody to go and tape with me. So it's an interesting journey. Khalil, I wish you thanks for coming. I wish you the best in your journey as an artist. That would I can pronounce, which is architect.
Yeah, architect.
And content creator on YouTube. I think that you've identified a gap. And you're well on your way to becoming a digital curator of Caribbean art. And I wish you success that extends beyond the borders of Trinidad and Tobago, and you're really able to venture out there in the Caribbean and capture that scene. I think what you're doing is great and is bringing this kind of digital medium to it.